Good morning. I'm Vanilla Jackson Crawford, and I'm also Miss Senior DC 2021. And welcome to my neighborhood. I'm also a very active senior who resides right here in Ward 5. Today is an exciting day for the residents of the District of Columbia, but especially for active seniors like me. Where are the other active seniors? I absolutely love tennis. And now our mayor has stepped it up and with the fastest growing fit and wellness activity called pickleball. I want to find out what pickleball really means. Tennis is fun, but I'm ready to learn something new. Thank you, Mayor Bowser, for investing in activities that keep us older adults active for years to come. So without further ado, please join me in welcome our Mayor, Muriel Bowser.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Let's hear for our queen. Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to beautiful Turkey Thicket Recreation Center right here in the heart of Ward 5. We're in the backyard of our beautiful Brooklyn Middle School, and you're in the neighborhood where I grew up. It's a school, the old Brooklyn School was a school that I went to as a preschooler. And these courts, they weren't here, right? They were over there. But we are so proud to be here with all of you at this Center for Activity for all DC residents. Let me start by talking about pickleball. So you may have heard, made an investment in my budget proposal that's in front of the Council of the District of Columbia right now to convert some of our underutilized courts in our system into pickleball. I learned about pickleball. That's good news, right? $750,000. In our budget engagement forums, there's always an idea that percolates. And this year, among a lot of priorities for the district, pickleball was a new one that percolated. Pickleball enthusiasts came to all of our budget engagement forums. I asked the director, what is going on and what are people talking about? And the director told me that this was a fun new activity that residents across the district are participating in. We always want to be in the forefront with our park system. We are the #1 park system in the nation. And the way we stay there is by investing in our facilities, ensuring that we have accessible places for our residents to play and exercise. Budget ago, I made an announcement that we're going to make a huge investment at RFK, for example, to make sure we have a world-class indoor-outdoor facility for youth sports and adult sports. So we're going to keep working with the Park Service and the council to make sure that we can get that going as well. So this is what I heard about pickleball. It's the fastest growing sport in America for people of all ages, but especially for older adults. We saw an opportunity with pickleball, and this opportunity is to help our residents who are living longer in DC, staying active, participating, and not just living long, but living well, and staying active and connecting with community. One thing that this pandemic taught us for sure is how important community and connection is to living a well, long life. This builds on an investment that I am making in recreation that we made together last year. $17 million in total to invest in Rec for All. So DPR has already used some of that investment to start a pickleball league that has 150 participants every Sunday here at Turkey Thicket. And our goal is to ensure that all residents, young and old, who try pickleball will have access to it. So I want to thank DPR for always stepping up and being responsive to the community. And I want to note that starting this week, DPR expanded hours at rec centers, and they started with 8 rec centers this week. And by the end of April, 45 rec centers will be operating on this new expanded schedule. So let's give them a big round of applause. It's also a reminder out there to the parents of the little ones who are looking for camp slots, expanded camp slots, to be sure to sign up for the DPR lottery sign-up system so that you will be assigned your recreation camp slot this summer. And so none of this happens by accident, only through a strategic vision and great leadership. And I am so proud that DPR has had that strategic vision and great leadership in Delano Hunter. Let's give him a big round of applause. And because he's so great, I have to give him some more work. I got to give him some more work. And because he is leaving DPR in really, really great situation, I am pleased to have him take what he has learned with all of the buildings at DPR, all of the maintenance, and all of the construction, and name him the next director of the Department of General Services. So let's give Delano a big round of applause. So as one of DGS's largest client agencies, DPR, are you with me? This means DPR may, in fact, get some special attention from DGS. Don't tell DCPS, but that's what it means. So I want to say thank you to Delano senior team. Let's give them a big round of applause. I want to thank all of the recreators at DPR. Let's give them a big round of applause. The best in the business. And I know that I can count on all of them for a seamless transition. And we will be talking about that transition in the coming days. I am also happy to welcome back to DC government an outstanding government executive who has worked for me as a director. She went out to a county somewhere. We brought her back home. And that's Melinda Bowling, who was formerly the director of DCRA. And now I have asked her to take on a new task of directing our Office of For-Hire Vehicles. So Melinda will take all that she knows about running an agency in DC government and also looking to the future of what transportation is in the for-hire space. So please congratulate me and please join me in congratulating these new cabinet officials. Thank you. So with that, Delano, talk to us about pickleball.
Let's give a hand to Mayor Bowser for her investment in pickleball. First, I just want to thank Mayor Bowser for the opportunity to serve and lead. I always like to mention I'm a proud native Washingtonian. I graduated from our public school system. I was a Parks and Recreation kid. I'm an alum of MBYLI and of many great institutions. So I don't take lightly the opportunity to serve, and it's been my highest professional honor, and I'm excited for this new journey. Also, I'd like to thank my colleagues at the Department of Parks and Recreation and all that we've been able to accomplish over the last 4.5 years. You know, I was thinking about just what we've been through from the pandemic, where we were transformed to all of a sudden from recreation to provide COVID vaccinations and distribute test kits. So I really appreciate it. And even emerging from the pandemic through Recreation for All, it's been my honor, and I so appreciate having the opportunity to work with you and looking forward, as the mayor said, to working with you even more in this new capacity. And certainly I'm excited to work with the team at DGS. Nothing that we've done as an agency, our successes from having the #1 park system, serving 250,000 folks at our pool during the summer is possible without the hardworking men and women at DGS. So I'm excited to be a part of that team. Now, I'm here to talk about pickleball. because, of course, pickleball is the fastest growing sport. And when I proposed recreation for all to the mayor, I said, Mayor, we want to be at the forefront of everything recreation related. We want to expand into gymnastics. We want to expand into esports. We want to increase opportunities for women and girls sports engagement. And then also, we want to grow pickleball. It's the fastest growing sport. In 2018, we had 0 pickleball courts. Now we have 10 dedicated pickleball courts and over 50 that have blended lines. And that's because of the grit and tenacity of Andrew Quadro, who I want to thank, and some of his partners that are here today. But we knew we got to a point where we needed to be intentional about the investment. And we have a 3-pronged approach. We want to infuse pickleball into our capital projects going forward. We also want to look to establish at some point maybe some pickleball hubs, but also we want to utilize we want to repurpose underutilized hard surface assets that we can breathe new life by growing the sport of pickleball across all 8 wards. So when the news broke, someone tweeted our list of 17 potential locations, and immediately I heard responses, and I was heartened to hear responses from residents east of the river to say, hey, we want in. We want in. This is the fastest growing sport, and we want in. We want to be a part and see what this is all about. So I'm excited about growing pickleball. I'm excited about working at DGS. And I want to thank Mayor Bowser for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So I want to acknowledge our team at DACL, the Office of Aging and Community Living, our stakeholders from AARP. Thank you for being here, Lewis. And I hear there's going to be a lesson. Take it easy on me. But before that, I'll take a few press questions, and if there are a few community questions, I'll take those. Yes, Mark.
First on topic on the pickleball, either for you or the director. I saw some different responses to that tweet of the list of places where a lot of people were concerned. One, in your original budget, you said, or presentation, you said you were looking at either converting tennis or basketball courts. And the basketball court conversion met with a lot of resistance. And so I'm wondering if now you're just looking at tennis courts. And then with the tennis courts, there were people who were just asking, why are you pitting tennis against pickleball? Why not just build new dedicated pickleball courts without taking away from the current inventory of tennis courts?
I think that is also the plan. As we have projects that come online and we have a lot of them in our queue, then we can construct new ones. I think you also heard the director talk about how can we just look at what's not having the most use or could have higher use, and then we'll look to those things. We're not looking to pit any group or sport against the other, but we have enough space that we can do it all.
If basketball courts are off.
Oh, let me ask the director.
That's right. Basketball courts are not being considered for conversions, and that's why we provided a list of 17 proposed locations. We're going to go through our normal community engagement process to ensure that it's the right fit for that community. And we're looking at some tennis courts that are not to regulation size and have had lower utilization. But the truth of the matter is, like where we're at Turkey Thicket is a good example of how both pickleball and tennis can coexist and can thrive together. Because we know also that tennis also grew during the pandemic, not as fast as pickleball, but tennis grew during the pandemic as well. So we don't want to pit sports, and there's a way to grow both sports in an equitable manner.
Director, while you're there, could I ask perhaps a transition question, a DPR, DGS question, and that is the status of Wilson Pool, which I'm told now is up to DGS, so I'm guessing that'll be something waiting for you on your desk when you move over there. Can you tell us what to expect there?
Sure. So we are very close. We're working closely with the Department of Health. So when we do reopen the facility, that we'll continue to monitor the conditions. But also we have a long-term investment to replace the HVAC system at Wilson. We've awarded a contractor. They are procuring the parts. It will take some time to procure those. So we think that this interim fix is something that we look forward to in the very near future.
What is the interim fix?
The interim fix now, we've made upgrades to the existing system that we have. Also, we are increasing our ventilation in the current pool, and we've done some different things with pool chemistry and also layout that will help us, we think, to maintain safe conditions in this interim period.
So do you know when that would begin? Do you have a timeline on when it would reopen?
So again, we're working closely with DC Health to get the green light. We want to do it right, and it's in the near future, and we hope to announce something soon.
Thank you.
Give me 1 second, please. I'm taking press questions, and I'll take questions.
Yeah, for Mr. Hunter, could you talk a little bit more about the underutilization part? For instance, if you have a tennis court that's not up to par or not regulation size, for instance, and that's the reason it's underutilized, how do you balance that with the need for improvements on the actual court?
Sure. So again, every facility of the 17 locations, some have multiple tennis courts, right? So you don't necessarily have to take away all tennis courts and convert those exclusively to pickleball. We have some locations where there are 3 tennis courts, and depending upon the spacing, you can convert one tennis court to multiple, as many as 4 to 6 pickleball courts. So that's an example how we can improve that entire asset, because the tennis courts will be resurfaced and spruced up while we're there. Like, again, just using that example, there's one location that we think we can still maintain 2 tennis courts and then provide 4 to 6 pickleball courts. So it's a way to encourage the growth of both.
Thank you. Then a question for Ms. Bowley. Hi.
Hello.
Welcome back to D.C.
Thank you.
Well, so there were news reports at the time of your departure. You were at DCRA. They talked about some criticism of your performance. Then also there was a lawsuit involving a whistleblower. Can you just talk about the status of that and, why you're coming back to D.C. after going across the border?
Well, I'm so excited to come back to Mayor Bowser in her 3rd term to work on an industry that needs a focus as we come back, right, and as we bring people back into the city. Previously, Department of Buildings now, it's always an agency that has a lot of attention, and I was happy with all the results that we had there. And all lawsuits, you should refer to the Office of the Attorney General for that.
Mayor Bowser, is there anything you want to add there?
We were sad when Melinda decided to leave the last time, and we're excited that she's back.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mayor Bowser, what's your reaction to the hearings yesterday on the Hill? And the chairman said that he held up a letter that he was going to invite you. Have you now been invited to testify? And just your thoughts on yet another attack on another D.C. law?
I didn't get a chance to hear all of the hearing. I was able to hear some of the opening remarks, particularly from the members of the Congress, and I was pleased with the case that was made by Chairman Mendelson about the district being just fine and not needing the Congress to meddle in our affairs.
The Police Reform Act, somewhat similar to the crime bill, you did not completely support. Can you tell us, it went into effect, I believe, without your signature, if I'm not mistaken. Can you tell us your position on that? During the crime bill debate on the Hill, a lot of the Republicans quoted you and cited your veto of that. It's probable that will come up again since this went into effect without your signature. So can you tell us where you stand?
I did not veto the bill. I get the names of them mixed up. The most recent one that they were talking about yesterday, police reform, I believe. I did not veto that bill. And like the first bill, while I may not agree with everything in it, I vetoed the first one. But regardless of my veto of the council, I don't think that the Congress should be involved in our local laws. And so that's where we stand.
And then, if I could, on a somewhat similar topic, the Washington Post reporting on the U.S. Attorney's Office declination of prosecutions at 67%. While they say on violent crimes it's up around 80%, but still on gun crimes and other crimes. And one of the reasons the U.S. Attorney pointed to the reason for that high number was the D.C. Crime Lab and their inability to process evidence. And the chief has pushed back a little bit on some of what the USAA has said, but I'd like your reaction to just the number of cases not being prosecuted overall, and then when the USAO kind of points the finger back at the D.C. government.
Well, the USAO prefers to use their own labs, and that's just the truth. There are, and it's a very long story that I'm happy to go into at another time about this crime lab, and given that the USAO is really the only client for the crime lab, kind of what they say goes, and if they don't like it, they walk away. And they have done it at least twice in the last 8 years. That's no way to run a lab, and that's why I question whether we have a structural issue with an independent crime lab. If the USAO gets mad at any given point and walks away from using it. So part of my budget proposal helps to fix some of that. I propose that the crime scene investigators go back to where they were before we had an independent lab, and that's at MPD. I propose that the public health lab go back to where it was before we had an independent lab, and that's back to DOH. And I propose to undo what the council did in saying that those functions are not executive functions and they should be independent functions. So I propose all of those things to get to an efficient and functioning lab and have the lab focus on the hard sciences. And the other sciences that are, up for question and debate, they should continue to be directed to other labs that the USAO likes. That's my take on it. And that's how you fix it. Yep.
Mayor Bowser, Nelson Jones, Channel 5. Your reaction to the representative from Alabama who railed on D.C. public schools? Did you hear
I
that
didn't hear
yesterday?
it, and I wouldn't waste my time on it.
He called, quote, D.C. schools inmate factories.
Like I said, I wouldn't waste my time on it. This is the truth about D.C. public schools. They're the fastest and have been improving urban school district in the United States of America. This is the truth about DC taxpayers. They're willing to make the investments to transform our schools that are needed. And this is the truth about our kids. They're outstanding, creative, curious little people who deserve all of our investment and attention. You would have to ask, why are you asking me that? Why are you asking me that? Ask him about Alabama schools. Did you ask him about Alabama schools? I don't know anything about Alabama schools. But I'm willing to bet that they need some work. And I don't get any happiest out of saying that about children in Alabama or schools in Alabama. I want the best for them too. Okay, anything else?
Yes.
Hold on, let me finish the press questions, and then I think I will stick around a little bit and take community questions because we have to get to the lesson.
I just have one question. Good morning, Mayor Bowser. I'm John Moore with DC News Now. What is your reaction to the allegation that Councilman White is making about alleged corruption in the DC Housing Authority?
I will refer any of that to the Housing Authority. I don't know what he's claiming, but I do know this. He should be focused on the work of the Housing Authority and not grandstanding about the Housing Authority. He stood with me when we took over that board, put in a reform board, and are making the necessary investments in the Housing Authority. So any questions about an internal report should be directed to Executive Director Brenda Donald, who I think made herself available at that press conference. All right, let's play.
That's right. Go right on up to the camera just like this. Now, guess what? Y'all don't move. I'm going to...
She don't move. Okay.
Okay.
She's amazing. Yes, she is.
Absolutely
She is.
amazing.